Well, thanks for joining me. Indeed, this week we're looking at something that's very practical. Some may say you shouldn't be talking about this, but this is scriptures. We're going through First Corinthians here. I'm just going through chapter by chapter, verse by verse, and we can see that the Word of God definitely addresses so many things in our lives, and this is one important area. So Paul is talking about sexual relations. He said it is good not to have. That is, if you're single, but because of temptation. Each man should have his wife, each woman should have her husband. He says, do not deprive one another. The husband doesn't have authority over his own body. The wife doesn't have authority over her body. You should come together. He said, no, as a concession, not as a command. He said, I say this. I wish that all were as I myself am. I wish everybody was like me, single. He said, but each has his own gift from God. One of one kind, one of another. So we're all different. We come different backgrounds, different races, ethnic groups, religious background, educational background, social background, and things like that. He said, and everyone is so unique. Thank God for that. He's made us all unique, all different. He said, each one has his own gift from God. So there'll be those who would have the gift of celibacy. That is, well, you don't want to get married. And that's fine. And sometimes in the church, we put too much of pressure upon singles who are not getting married and kind of telling them, okay, it seems that marriage is the only way for them to fulfill the calling of God and God's plan for them. But that is not true. So that's something we should probably stop doing. He says, each has his own gift from God, one of one kind and one of another. He says to the unmarried and the widows, I say it is good for them to remain single. If you're not married, if you're a widow, your husband passed away, he said, remain as you are, remain single. That's okay. That's okay. Why is he saying that? He's saying that because they're able to give themselves more fully to the work of God, to the things of God. He said, if they cannot exercise self-control, now here's the caveat, if they cannot exercise self-control over their own body, he says, you should get married. You find someone. Now, you're not looking for someone just for the sake, okay, well, I can't exercise self-control. I need to have some physical intimacy, so let me just find someone. No. When you get married, you're not marrying for that. Because after a while that kind of loses its whatever you're thinking about. It's not all about that. There's so much more to marriage than physical intimacy. If you cannot exercise some control, he says, get married. He says, for it is better to marry than to burn with passion. There are people who are just burning up on the inside and they're being consumed with thoughts of physical desires and intimacy and so on. He's saying, listen, if you're burning up with passion, maybe it's time you find someone and you settle down with them. So you will have those physical needs met. But remember, you're not getting married simply for that reason. If that's all you're going to do, that's very shallow, that's very superficial, that's very carnal, and you can end up being quite disappointed. You want to find someone who's compatible, someone who's godly, someone who loves the Lord and wants to follow, and they have your same kind of values, and you're compatible with them on so many different levels. And people can tell, you two guys, you're good for each other, and get some counseling and so on pertaining to that. And we'll continue. Bless God.